We were about 10 miles off San Carlos, on the east coast of Mexico. We happened to be my old friend, Dr. Graham, director of the Miami Marine Institute, and myself, Mike Nelson. Dr. Graham had sold me on exploring an underwater cave. He had pretty solid evidence that it contained some fossils more than 80 million years old. If true, this could be one of the most important scientific finds in years, or it could be a washout. It was my job to prove it, one way or the other. Dr. Graham first learned about the cave when he received a package of underwater photos from someone in San Carlos. They showed the entrance to the cave and a fossil that had been found just beyond it. The photos had been taken by an American artist named Carter, who said that currents made the cave inaccessible. There was just no way of getting into it. Well, Carter had to be wrong. There didn't seem to be any currents down here to speak of. Upstairs, Dr. Graham could see me on the closed-circuit TV setup. He'd been quite worried about Carter's warning. Suddenly, I gave him and myself something to worry about for real. A maze of currents, seemingly from out of nowhere, hit me like pile drivers. It was the strangest turbulence I'd ever been in. Getting through that vortex and into the cave would take all the strength and skill I had, plus a lot of luck. It turned out that a lot of it was bad luck. On my next pass at the cave, I tried something new. I released some dye, hoping it might show me some kind of a clear channel through the turbulence. No matter from what point I tried it, my experiment just proved that there was no way of outguessing these peculiar currents. No way of predicting them either. To make my way any distance into the cave, I was going to need extra help.
You all right, Mike?
Oh, sure. Well, I found the cave. We're halfway home.
In 53 hours, we'll be all the way home, to the States, that is. That picture was very clear. That turbulence was positively frightening.
Oh, you know how TV exaggerates everything?
Yes, but I don't like violence. I'm prepared to risk anything for those fossils. But, Mike, your life is not one of them.
Well, I think I could have made it if I had enough power.
What?
Special equipment. Sea scooter.
I may be as dense as my fossils, but, Mike, why is this challenge so irresistible to you?
Oh, you want those fossils, don't you?
Of course I do, but...
Well?
What do you have in mind?
A fast trip to San Carlos. See if we can find that guy that took those photos that you showed to me, huh? Apparently he's a diver. Maybe he's got a scooter. If he hasn't, maybe he can help me find somebody who has.
Yes, but San Carlos isn't on our way home.
Oh? Well, it might be an interesting detour.
we got to San Carlos, Dr. Graham went ashore for provisions. I put away my gear. I wouldn't need it till I located a scooter. I wasn't doing anything very unusual, but it sure interested my audience. Hi.
Hi. Pardon, senor. Is this your boat?
Uh-huh.
It is a very beautiful boat.
Oh, thanks. I think so, too.
You take very good care of it, senor.
Well, she's the only one I got.
Oh. Then you should not leave it unguarded.
Oh? I shouldn't, huh? What? Is this a tough neighborhood?
Si, senor. There's a very dangerous gang who play on the wharf.
Well, I have to go into the village. What do you suggest I do?
In my opinion, you should hire me to guard your boat for the small sum of 25 cents American.
Oh, you think that'd be a good idea, huh? Are you sure there's such a gang?
Very sure. I am their leader.
Oh, well, in that case, it's a pleasure to do business with such an upstanding young man. Hey, my friend, you watch that boat, huh? Oh. Now that you're working for me, maybe you can help me find an American by the name of Carter, huh?
The famous artist?
That's the one.
Si, senor. The American artist is the biggest attraction on my guided tour.
Guided tour, huh? Well, how much is that going to cost me?
You are very lucky, senor. It is the off-season, and I will give you the tour for the small sum of 25 cents American.
Who's going to be watching my boat?
It will be safe, senor. The dangerous gang is taking a siesta.
Oh, there you are. Catch it. Okay.
And this was the studio of our biggest attraction.
Hey, we can't just barge in like this. Nobody's home.
That is all right, senor. The American artist says I can come in anytime.
You sure?
Si, senor.
Yeah. How's that?
If that's a criticism, you can keep it to yourself. Once more.
And this is our biggest attraction in person.
Every town should have one.
Si, senor.
Thanks, huh, Don Juan? Back to your job, Don Juan.
Job?
There, you're watching my boat.
Si.
Oh, you see, it looks good from any angle.
It stinks from any angle.
What is it, anyway?
It's an underwater cave.
Oh, this is a cave that you wrote to us about, huh? I'm working with Dr. Graham. My name's Mike Nelson.
I'm Cheryl Carter. Yes, this is the same cave.
You know, I didn't expect you to be a woman.
Sorry.
Oh, don't be. I wouldn't change a thing. Oh, this sure doesn't look like the cave that I saw. Of course, I was being knocked around a little bit at the time.
Didn't take my letter seriously, huh? I told you the cave was inaccessible.
I don't know. I was hoping that I'd prove you wrong.
And you didn't.
No, that's why I'm here. I need a scooter. Do you have one by any chance?
You haven't signed a suicide pact by any chance?
Nah, it's not that dangerous.
It is, too. I was darn near killed down there.
Well, I'd still like to try it. Do you have a scooter?
You know something? I wish I did. There isn't any equipment like that nearer than Key West. I don't suppose that would stop you, though, would it?
You always this helpful, or is today an exception, huh?
It's just that I don't like to see a person commit suicide. That's all.
Well, neither do I. Thanks anyway, huh?
Please let me know if you locate a scooter. I'd like to be around if you try the cave again.
Oh, yeah? Why?
I'm a whiz with a first aid kit.
Hi, Don Juan.
Hi, Senor Mike. Were you successful with the senorita?
Is anybody?
You talked to her about the cave, no?
Hey, how'd you know about that?
One cannot be a good guide without knowing many things. Is it important that you get into the cave?
Yeah, very important.
There's something I should tell you.
As soon as I make this radio call, I'll be right with you.
I put in a call to Key West, to an underwater supply outfit that I'd done business with before. When I outlined my problem to them, they agreed to ship a scooter down to me, the most powerful one available. If I were right, it'd get me through the turbulence. And if Gerald Carter were right, it'd pile me up on the rocks.
All right, over and out. Oh, you sure went a lot of effort for this old bottle.
See, Senor Mike, for this bottle I did. As you can see, it is empty.
Yeah, sure it is. You expect something to be inside of it?
Tell me, Senor, what does a sailor do when he's shipwrecked on a lonely little island?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose he hopes another ship will come by, doesn't he?
See, he does that sometimes, but other times he finds a piece of paper. Then he searches for a bottle that has been washed ashore by the tide. And you know what he does then?
Well, sure, he writes a message.
But how? He has no pencil, and nothing grows on the island.
Hey, that poses a problem, doesn't it, huh?
It does, until he finds a pen.
Fountain pen, huh?
No, a pen.
That's what I said, a pen.
A pen, you know, like, ouch.
Oh, pen.
And after he's found this pen, he writes a secret message. In blood, Senor. His own blood.
Oh, boy, hey, that's real clever of him.
Then he puts the message in the bottle and throws it far beyond the waves, where the tide will carry it all over the world.
Yeah, well, I bet you've received a lot of those secret messages, huh?
I received none, Senor Mike.
Oh, you haven't?
No, but this is a very favorable time of year for secret messages.
I sure hope you get one real soon.
When mine comes, I will share it with you, Senor. Until then, I get 2 cents a bottle all year round.
What are you going to do with all that money you get?
I'm saving to buy a pair of fins. 6 more cases of empty bottles, and I'll have enough.
Come with me, huh? I think these pair might fit you.
For me?
For you. Come on, boy. Hey, you were going to tell me something about that cave. Huh?
Senorita Carter says no one can get inside. And she is never wrong, she says.
Yeah? Well, we'll show her a thing or two, won't we?
The scooter arrived at the dock early the next morning. So did Gerald Carter, with their first aid kit. Don Juan, meantime, was in conference with his gang. What a character.
Why did you not tell Senor Mike about the other way into the cave?
Because he's here only for this job. And when it is over, we'll go home.
You did wrong, Don Juan. That's a very bad cave.
I want my amigo to stay in San Carlos.
See, he will stay in San Carlos. In the graveyard, maybe.
I'd used a lot of scooters, but this model seemed to deliver more power than most. All the same, it didn't have power enough to pull me in a straight course and into the cave. The currents at the entrance bucked me around like a bronco. If I moved at all, it was sideways.
Stay with it, Mike.
Go, man, go.
I had all I could do just to hold on to the scooter. That turned out to be a mistake. The current slammed the scooter back into my face. It cracked me so hard it just about knocked me out. I was like a fighter down for the count. I didn't know where I was or what was happening. I grabbed at the first object that I came into contact with. It turned out to be a rock. I couldn't seem to get organized. I couldn't see much either. The scooter had cracked my faceplate as well as my head.
Senor Mike?
We don't know. Dr. Gonzalez hasn't finished examining him yet.
He's going to be all right.
Good.
Are you sure, Senorita?
He's lucky he wasn't killed.
Hello, Senor Mike.
Oh, hello, Don Juan.
How are you feeling?
Well, looks like I'm going to be in San Carlos for a few days longer than I expected.
I'm sorry, Senor. It was my fault. I should have told you of the cave.
You're the only one who didn't.
I should have told you of the other way inside.
Other way? I must still be a little groggy. What do you mean, other way?
Si, Senor. It is true. There's another way into the cave.
For gosh sakes, why didn't you tell me this before?
I wanted you to stay in San Carlos forever.
I almost did.
I made you a map. I know what I did was wrong. It was selfish.
Well, this is a way into that cave from the land.
Si. Please don't name me, amigo.
Dr. Graham, come in here, quick.
What is it, Mike? What's the matter?
Take a look at that. It's another way into the cave. Into those fossils you've been looking for.
Why, this is a land-based
That's
entrance.
right.
No turbulence to worry about that way.
Don't sound so disappointed.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, we got Don Juan to thank for it. Hey, where'd he go? Take a look, huh?
He's gone.
It was another few days before I was ready to work again. But Don Juan's map made it easy to get started. The land-based entrance to the cave was shaped something like a crater. Actually, it was a blowhole through the coral into the sea. I rigged a lifeline to make sure that I'd be able to get out as easily as I got in. It didn't take long to find the fossil bed for Dr. Graham. Digging out the fossils, though, would take time. And it could be dangerous. When you do any excavation work underwater, you risk starting a chain reaction. the whole wall could come down on me. I'd have to be mighty careful. I got the message. I'd have to be a lot more careful. Dr. Graham's enthusiasm spurred me on. I managed to clean out the major part of the fossil bed within 2 weeks. This last chunk of rock looked especially promising to me. But you need an expert eye, like Dr. Graham's, to know for sure. A week more and the job was done. All that remained was to say goodbye to the natives.
Hi, Mike. Got something for you.
Oh. Oh. Oh, something new has been added. What's this?
That's you.
Me? Oh, Gerald, friend to friend, don't you think you ought to give up painting and stick to diving?
I don't know why I like you so much.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so now you tell me, huh? When I'm ready to go home.
I've been trying to tell you all along, but you were too interested in fossils.
Well, next time it won't be fossils.
There he is now, Mike. There's Don Juan.
Yeah, hold this, fella, will you? Be right back. Hey, Don Juan, I've been looking all over for you. Where you been keeping yourself?
Please forgive me, Senor Mike. Please forgive me.
For what? Well, if it hadn't been for you, I never would have found those fossils. And that map you made. Boy, that was a great job.
You really mean it, Senor?
Of course I mean it.
Then we're still amigos?
Ah, you bet we're still amigos. Come on, let's go. Sure tough to leave these wonderful people, huh, Dr. Graham?
Sure is.
Thanks a lot for this. We'll find a special place for it aboard, huh?
Sure.
Good luck, Mike.
Goodbye, Senor Mike.
Goodbye, Don Juan.
If you come back to San Carlos, I will guard your boat for free.
And you can finish that guided tour, too, huh? We'll take Cheryl along with us. You, look after our biggest attraction, huh?
See.
Mike, young Don Juan.
Hey, take the wheel a minute, huh? You got a pin?
A what?
You know, like ouch.
Like what?
I guess it is a silly idea. Here. I get a pen.
I hope Don Juan wouldn't mind too much that his first secret message turned out to be written in ink. I plan to go back to San Carlos someday and find out.
I'll be back next week at the same time with another sea hunt story. Plan to be with us again, huh?
Some parts of the Caribbean are almost too beautiful to be true, topside and down below. The world underwater, though, is alien, with special laws of its own. To survive, you've got to obey them. Carl Friedrich didn't seem to agree. He had let his diving partner go upstairs without him. Now he was exploring some kind of a wreck. Now that's dangerous even with a buddy. Only a novice goofs off this way. But that's what Carl was. A beginner whom I'd been teaching to dive.
He should be up by now.
I thought he was right behind me.
He may be in trouble. I'm going down.
It didn't take me long to locate Carl. Seeing me seemed to panic him. He tried to get away. He caught his air hose in some jagged metal. I showed him the way to untangle himself. But instead, he ripped his hose clear through. And I had to do the unhooking. That got him in such a state he almost forgot that he could get upstairs safely by buddy breathing with me.
Take care of him. I'm going back down.
I wanted to look at that wreckage again. What was so fascinating about it to Carl? All I'd noticed were pieces of what could have been a smashed-up plane. Well, it was a plane, all right. No doubt about that. A big plane, probably. And it had hit the water with a terrific impact. Yeah, I remembered this insignia. The swastika of Hitler's Germany. I had planned to leave the island this morning. Instead, I was on my way to see the West German consul, Dr. Baumer, at his request. Carl Friedrich, my headstrong young pupil, worked in his office. I wondered about the connection, if any. Carl didn't say.
Mike, I was afraid you had left. Sit down, please. Carl, you will stay. Last night, the authorities informed me that you found the remains of a German warplane in the bay. Carl verified the report this morning.
Yeah, there are Nazi markings on it.
Then it must be the same one, flown here by Colonel Durek in 1945. The dossier, please.
If you knew this, why'd you tell me about it?
Oh, we've searched before. I'd given up hope of finding it ever. Let me explain, please. After Germany was defeated, many Nazi war criminals tried to escape to neutral countries. Colonel Durik of the Gestapo was one of them. The British knew of his plans. They had planes patrolling the Caribbean, and they shot him down in full view of this island. A boat went out. There were no survivors.
Oh, I shouldn't wonder. That plane must have hit the water pretty hard.
Could you find the plane again, Mike?
Well, sure. I tied a marker buoy on it.
Thank you, Carl. Colonel Durik had his plane equipped with a specially developed survival kit. A hermetically sealed plastic container. It contained a remarkable drug, Mike. A stabilized painkiller. Supposedly, it would not deteriorate as morphine does with age.
Supposedly? What do you mean? It didn't work?
Well, no one knows. Only a small test batch was made. And in the chaos after the war, the project was abandoned. None of the kits containing the drug has been found.
I doubt if they'll be able to find this one either. That plane was torn to pieces.
Naturally, but if you look at this diagram for a moment. An emergency locker was located just behind the pilot's seat here. And in the locker was an inflatable rubber dinghy. The kit was attached to it.
Well, there won't be much left of that dinghy. It's been underwater for years.
Oh, I talked to some scientists on the island. If the kit can be opened under laboratory conditions, and if the drug is still potent, well, such proof would be conclusive. The drug could benefit medical science the world over, Mike.
If that kit's still down there, and if I can find it.
Let me help you, Mike. Together, I'm sure we can find it.
Well, at least we can try. It's okay with me. Okay with your boss?
It is, Carl. Take as much time as you want. Many thanks, my friend.
All right, get ourselves a job. Hi, Carl.
Hi, Mike.
All set?
Yes, I got my air hose all fixed.
Oh, let me take a look at that, huh? So, good job. That's fine. Well, we're on our way, huh? Stick close by me now, huh? And don't foul up your air hose this trip.
How do you say? Once bitten?
I finally located the pilot's seat. It had survived impact and immersion very well. The seatbelt was intact, and the buckle was open. The pilot couldn't have lived through the crash, so he must have released the belt before that. What's more, there was no sign of the seat parachute, and there should have been at least some shreds of rotted nylon. It meant that Colonel Durik had bailed out before the crash. Safely, perhaps. Well, that wasn't my problem. I was after a survival kit. One of the engines had torn free of its mounting and lay up ahead. Strips of rubber. Carl had been right. We had found the remains of the dinghy. If the survival kit was still to be found, it would be here, under this mass of metal. Carl had spotted something dangerous, apparently. But I didn't see so much as a jellyfish. Then he yanked on my harness, and it gave. Suddenly, I wasn't getting any air. Carl came at me with his knife. He cut me loose from my harness, he said later. But I didn't need that kind of help. I got him to put the knife away and to help me upstairs by sharing his air with me. I ditched my tanks, though, and for only one reason. I intended to go back alone and find out what had gone wrong. Accidents like that don't just happen.
Why'd you push me down there? What happened?
I saw a shark. I thought he was coming in to attack. I tried to pull you out of the way.
Oh, thanks. That's going to take quite a bit of doing to raise that engine off the dinghy.
What are you doing?
I'm going back down again.
Why?
Want to get another look at that setup on that.
But you can't go down again. Well, I mean, not now.
We may have to use grapnels for the job. I want to be sure. I won't be long.
Underwater equipment is built to stand rough treatment. Mine hadn't. There was no legitimate reason that I could think of for that. There was a reason, and it wasn't legitimate. The mounting of the regulator had been cut through. When Carl yanked on it, the regulator had been torn out. My gear hadn't left the boat. So obviously, this mounting had been brought aboard and switched with mine right there. Only Carl could have done it. Why? I didn't mention Carl's sabotage when I reported to Consul Baumer. I did tell him that we'd found the remains of the dinghy under the engine of Colonel Durick's plane.
That is excellent news, Mike. Most excellent. You feel sure, then, that the kid is down there, under the engine?
Well, Carl and I are going to try to raise that engine with a winch. We'll know then. You know, Carl, he's a pretty handy man. How long you known him?
2 years, ever since I was assigned to this post. Yeah, Carl Friedrich is handy. Fine young man.
Is he from Germany?
Originally, yes. His family came to the island at the end of the war. Mr. Friedrich bought a small farm in the interior.
What did Mr. Friedrich do during the wartime, you know? I mean, Carl's father.
Nobody knows. They never discuss it.
Is he still on that farm?
No, he died before I came here. Mrs. Friedrich sold the farm, moved into the city with Carl.
I think I will have a drink.
Mrs. Friedrich is a highly respected woman, but she is strong-willed. It's good that he's leaving her.
Oh, he is, huh?
Oh, he did not tell you then. Carl will make an excellent diplomat.
Yeah, what's the big secret?
He's engaged to be married to the only daughter of a very rich man on the island. The father will give them a house, servants, everything. Carl has a brilliant future.
Yeah. Well, I'll see that I take good care of him. I'd arranged with Carl to meet me at my hotel for lunch. Then we'd go out to my boat together. He hadn't appeared. Seemed that I'd have to go looking for him. And from what Baumer had told me, his mother's might be the place to start. You know about our salvage project that we're working on, Mrs. Friedrich?
Carl seldom discusses his work. He did mention a survival kit.
Oh. Did he say why he didn't want me to find it?
I'm afraid I do not understand you.
Your son tried to drown me yesterday. You any idea why? Was it because Colonel Durek did not die in that plane? Tell me the truth now. Are you going to tell me? Or shall I report to Consul Baumer that your son tried to kill me?
It is not so.
Whose idea was it, huh? Yours, Mrs. Friedrich?
It was only to delay you, to get time.
Go on.
Colonel Durek was my husband. Carl's father. He escaped and swam ashore. He took the name of Friedrich. It was all arranged long before. He knew the Reich would succumb to its enemies. So, toward the end, he banked money here in the name of Friedrich. We never got it. All the papers we needed to claim it were sealed in the survival kit.
And Carl knew that those papers would expose you, huh?
When you found the plane, everything we had built here, my position, Carl's job, his marriage, all were threatened. I told him to...
Yeah, what did you tell him?
I told him he had to stop you.
So he's out there now, huh? That's a dangerous job, Mrs. Friedrich. A two-man operation. You gambled your son's life to protect the lie that you and your husband invented. What's going to happen, huh? If he dies, you going to invent another lie?
Winching a heavy airplane engine off the bottom of the sea is a dangerous job. I knew that Carl didn't know enough to handle it all by himself. Whether he liked it or not, he was getting a partner, me. I got him upstairs, but that was as far as he meant to go with me. I didn't like to, but I had to persuade him some way.
Sorry I had to hit you like that.
Why did you hit me?
Your mother told me the whole story, Carl. Yeah, it must be rough. Live with something like that on your conscience.
It's going to be a lot rougher when they find out the truth about us.
I don't think so. Your father was a Nazi, not you. You're not, are you?
No, of course not. I hate everything he stood for. But you must let me destroy those papers.
No. You'd have to destroy the drug, too, then. That kit has to be opened up in the laboratory, under controlled conditions. I'd like to have you help me bring it up, though. That is, if you're in shape to. Is your chin all right? Is that as high up as you can bring that engine?
Yes. It weighs too much, even in the water.
All right. After you, my friend.
I knew that Carl really didn't want to help me, but it was a lot safer to have him with me than upstairs near that winch. There was the kit. I had it made, if I could dig it loose. All of a sudden, for no reason that I knew of, Carl was trying to pull me away. I wasn't about to quit when I was this close. I kept on digging, but Carl came up with a pointed argument. I had to agree.
Good shape after all these years.
You saved my life, and I'm grateful.
Enough to let me destroy the papers?
No.
Don't worry, Mike. I made my decision down there. A man's life must not be a lie. My wife will not like it.
Well, you asked for it.
Please?
I was just kidding. Looks like I'm going to have to stick around for that wedding of yours now, huh? Hi, I'm Lloyd Bridges, inviting you to join us for another action-packed story of underwater adventure 1 week from today.
I'd come to the Bahamas for a vacation, not to teach skin diving. But this eager young man wouldn't take no for an answer. His name was Bob Hicks. I'd never seen a less promising pupil. He checked out okay as a swimmer, but he took to life underwater the way a fish does to mountain climbing. I was sorry, but there were no two ways about it. This lad belonged topside. And at the end of our third session, that's where I took him. When we got to the surface, I didn't even wait till we were on the boat to tell him that his lessons were over.
Why, Mike? Look, I've done everything you told me to.
Yeah, I know. But, we just don't have the time for you to learn how to dive the way you should.
Look, I've got to learn how to dive now, please.
Why? You don't like to dive. You're on the verge of panic all the time down there.
I've still got to learn how. Now, are you going to teach me or aren't you?
I'm sorry, Bob. Just don't have the time. I'm supposed to be on vacation, you know.
Okay. But if anything happens, remember, you're responsible.
Later that day, I went ashore for dinner, still mulling over Bob Hicks' threat or warning.
Hey, Nelson.
The name was Morrell, the man said. Vincent Morrell. And he had a present for me.
$100 bill. It'll be $4 more from Nelson, depending on the headway you make from now on.
Headway on what?
We're teaching Bob Hicks to skin dive. You were going to stop, I understand.
Did he tell you why?
Not directly. He was crying about it a little this afternoon in the lobby of my hotel. Oh, by the way, don't tell him about our deal. He wouldn't like it.
Okay. Why should you pay me $500 to teach somebody else how to dive?
Friendship. I don't like my friends to be frustrated. See you later, old man.
It was an off hour, but I was having an early dinner to have time to chew my thoughts, along with my food.
Hey, Albert. I didn't order this. Compliments of the ladies, sir.
Oh, quite a switch, huh?
Anything can happen in the Bahamas, Mr. Nelson.
Oh, don't bother, Mr. Nelson. I really can't stay. I have another appointment. I'm Carol Sloan. I hope you'll forgive me.
What for? This is the nicest thing that's happened to me in a long time.
It's a bribe.
Oh, think that's necessary? I don't.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. I have a friend, a young man.
A lucky young man.
He's very depressed. You should have seen him in here this afternoon.
The name of your friend wouldn't happen to be Hicks by any chance, would it? Bob Hicks?
That's right. Bob told me that you cut off his lessons today without notice.
Now, this is a kind of an apple for the teacher, huh?
For the teacher who's going to reopen school tomorrow morning. Good night, Mr. Nelson.
Don't tell me you muffed it, sir.
Yeah, looks like. That wolf at the bar was a little too fast for me.
Well, better luck next time, sir.
Maybe tomorrow, after school. P.S. Next morning, I reopened school. And Bob Hicks surprised me by starting to make the grade. someone else was keeping an eye on Bob's progress. I didn't know who, but I meant to find out. No use. I'd lost him. An army of frogmen could have hidden in this coral reef without ever being found. But I was troubled and puzzled. Why all this interest in Bob Hicks, boy skin diver?
Hi.
Well, hello there.
May I come aboard?
Be my guest.
Thanks.
You got another apple for the teacher?
Oh, no.
Hi.
Hi. How is it going?
Well, at least when I go down there now, I feel fairly sure I'm going to come up again.
Oh, good.
Oh, I'm sorry. You two haven't met. Mike Nelson, this is Carol Sloan. Carol's a friend of mine.
Happy to know you, Mike. Haven't we met somewhere before?
Could be. I've been there.
So have I.
I don't get it.
Oh, it's nothing. Hurry up and get your gear. We got lots to do.
You, two known each other for quite a while, have you?
Oh, yes. He's engaged to my kid sister back in the States.
Oh. You live here in the Bahamas, do you?
No, I'm just down here for a month. And then Bob popped in from Bermuda on his way home from Europe. He took a cottage next door to me, just beyond the point there.
Yeah, he said it was a kind of a spur-of-the-moment deal. Had trouble with a plane and had to land. That plane ought to be fixed up by about now, shouldn't it?
Yes, but he likes the Bahamas so much he decided to stay.
Huh? Try to dive, huh?
Yes.
Tell me.
Are you ready?
Oh, yes, Bob.
Let's go then.
Goodbye, Mike.
Hey, thanks.
I didn't know whether to believe Carol or not. One thing was certain. Someone wasn't coming clean about something. A little later, I stumbled onto one of those people.
Hi, Morrell.
Hi, Nelson. Making any progress with Hicks?
Don't you know?
No. How could I?
You were down there watching both of us, weren't you?
Are you kidding? Would I pay you $500 to teach him how to skin dive if I knew how to myself?
Doesn't make much sense to me.
No, of course not. I've got something for you. I promised you these, and there's 200 more coming.
Not until I know what it's for.
Oh, I told you. I'm a friend of his.
I don't think he knows you from Adam. What's your angle, anyway?
Ever hear of Lloyd's of London? I'm at the Royal Hotel. Let me know when Hicks is able to dive by himself.
When an insurance company like Lloyd's of London is interested in a man, it can only mean one thing. And when that man literally hates being underwater, yet forces himself to become a pretty fair diver, there's got to be a connection. Peeping Tom again. Morrell had denied being able to dive. Maybe this was some other character. I didn't have any better luck this time than before. Then I saw still another member of the underwater PTA. It had to be a different one, because he was in a different area. Who were these underwater snoopers? If Morrell had lied and was one of them, I still had no clue to the second. Now the second diver was gone too. This whole thing was getting weirder and weirder. One more question bothered me as I swam back. Did Bob Hicks know about these two watchdogs? He had given no sign of even seeing them. It was time for a showdown between Hicks and me.
Well, I think I finally figured it out.
Yeah, what's that?
Why you want to learn how to dive? There's something valuable down there, and you know exactly where it is, right?
Suppose it is. What about it?
Well, that depends on what it is. Might be stolen merchandise. There might even be a reward for it from some outfit like Lloyd's of London, maybe.
Well, you're way off base.
No, Bob. I think we better tell him.
What are you talking about?
We have to, Bob. Please believe me. You're right, Mike. When Bob dropped in to see me, he was on his way back from Amsterdam with a package of diamonds. He works for a diamond importer in New York.
What's the name of that diamond dealer?
Gellhorn Incorporated.
Well, go on.
He had the stones in a money belt. We went swimming, and the belt broke and sank. It's that simple.
What was this?
That's none of your business.
Please, Bob. Not far from this boat. Why not let him help you look for it? That is, if he wants to.
I don't mind.
Well, all right, we'll give it a crack tomorrow morning, okay?
Okay by me. I think I'll get into something dry.
Is there a Gellhorns Incorporated?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but just the same, it won't be long before he's onto the real story.
Oh, that won't matter.
Oh, no?
Not if you find the belt first.
I tried to check Carol's story with New York, but this was Friday. 6 p.m. Friday, and everything was shut up tight for the weekend. I learned that there was a diamond outfit named Gellhorn, but that's all. Nothing on Bob Hicks or Carol Sloan. Who were they, anyway? Decent people in trouble, or a couple of crooks? Now I began to get an idea who the second diver was. The wolf who followed Carol out of the restaurant a few nights back.
Hi. Okay to come aboard? Who's the big attraction? Carol Sloan or Bob Hicks? Hicks, mainly. But the girl's a corker, isn't she?
Sorry to get your floor wet. I know I should have done this on deck.
But this is a little more private, huh?
Yes. My name is Powery, by the way. Steve Powery. Just to prove it.
Washington, huh? I know some fellas who work out of that office. Charlie Dexter, you know him?
Yes, I know Charlie Dexter.
Describe him.
Oh, he's about 5'10", 185 pounds, blonde, crew cut. Went to Amherst.
Know his wife? What's her name?
Shirley. And she makes a mean Caesar salad. They live on Q Street in a red brick house, and they're owned by a dachshund named Wilhelm.
Hey, why are you so interested in Bob Hicks? What's he done?
Did you ever hear the term defector?
Yeah. That's the guy who goes over the opposition. Why, is Bob Hicks a defector?
Well, we don't know for sure. He was carrying top-secret microfilm from Europe to Washington.
Microfilm? And a money belt, huh?
Yeah. That's how valuable they are. He'd have to keep them on his person. He wouldn't dare let them out of his sight. Well, he was coming back via Bermuda, but for some reason he cut out of there.
Yeah, his plane set down for repairs.
Yes, it did. But what's he doing here in the Bahamas?
Oh, he's visiting his friend, Carol Sloan. He said that he went swimming with her and lost his money belt. Now he's taking up scuba diving. See if he can find it, I guess.
Why didn't he contact Washington?
I don't know. Somebody else looking for that belt, you know.
Someone on this island?
Yeah. A fellow called Vincent Morrell. He's at the Royal Hotel.
Does Hicks know him? Have they been in contact?
I don't know.
What do you know about Morrell?
He's paid me $300 already to teach Hicks how to dive. Owes me 200 more. Pretty good pay, huh?
I was hoping this was just a case of poor judgment. That Hicks was trying to get the films back by himself rather than confess he lost them, but now I'm not so sure. Nelson, this is important. Those films, I can't tell you how important.
Yeah. I can imagine. Maybe I can catch two birds with one skin diver.
Hmm?
Me. I set up a meeting with Morrell. I told him that Bob Hicks was ready to go it alone now if he wanted him to. I collected the $200 I had coming. Then I made him a proposition.
How about hiring me to finish the job? Hire you to finish the job? What do you mean?
Oh, you want to get back what your outfit insured, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's in that money belt down below.
Who told you it was a money belt?
Hicks. I conned him into it.
Keep talking.
Well, he told me that he lost it while he was in swimming. Where would he go swimming? Right out in front of where he's staying now, don't you think?
So?
So? You make it worth my while. I'll be on the lookout. I'll see where he goes in. I'll know the exact location of that belt. You'll have it made.
I have it made already. You told Hicks to dive. Now he'll be able to recover the belt himself, and he won't keep it. Thank you, Nelson, but I don't need your help.
If Morrell was right, Bob Hicks was a defector. Next morning, I got my chance to find out. As I anticipated, Bob appeared in front of his house ready to dive. I was waiting for him offshore. As I had figured, he couldn't find the money belt. He didn't know how to look for it. I persuaded him to surface with me. There we could talk it over.
What are you doing down here? I want to help you find that belt. I can find it myself. Well, you haven't yet. I don't think you will. You don't have any system for searching. Well, I suppose you do, huh? Yeah. I got everything we need right down below to do it. Want to give it a try? Okay.
I had already prepared for a systematic search. With a rope tied off to a rock, we could methodically cover a given area until we found what we were looking for. Everything that looks like a rock underwater isn't. And finally, there it was. been expecting Vincent Morrell. I hadn't been expecting this. I had my hands full getting rid of the spear gun before I could use it again. But Bob Hicks was totally unprepared to face this kind of action underwater. He had me at a disadvantage, and he made the most of it. My air hose was cut before I could reverse the odds. I had no choice but to head for the surface and shuck my gear. Underwater, Hicks was totally at the mercy of this old pro. He fought as best he could, but he didn't have a chance. Morrell's knife cut deep into his shoulder. I was boiling mad when I got back into the fight. I didn't stop fighting till Morrell was unconscious. I got Morrell to the cabin of my boat. Steve Powery was waiting there to find out who was doing what to whom.
No. Oh, my. Here, take it.
What'll I do with it?
We had to lie to you. It isn't diamonds.
What is it?
I can't tell you. It's secret. It's top secret. Look, take it down to the American consul.
Thank you, Alfred, but I didn't order anything.
Compliments of the gentleman, miss.
Well, but I thought he had left the island.
Without saying goodbye, miss? Mr. Nelson would hardly do a thing like that.
Well, I should say not.
Is that what this is for? Nice to have known you and so long.
Well, I really haven't known you. I'd like to.
I'll drink to that.
Oh? What about my competition?
Steve Power, you mean? He's on his way back to Washington with Bob. And Morrell's in jail. No competition in sight.
Well, then what are we waiting for? Let's go out and do the town, huh?
That's the nicest thing that's happened to me in a long time.
Alfred, you were right.
I beg your pardon, sir?
Anything can happen in the Bahamas.
Yes, sir.
Hi there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is certainly a lot of fun, and it's full of adventure. See some more of it again next week, huh? When there'll be another excursion into that fabulous underwater world of sea hunt.
"26 million miles from Earth as a rocket flies, Venus is a world of vapor, mist, and water. Landing on this planet demands special equipment and skills, and the know-how to survive and work hard underwater. This knowledge doesn't come easy. It takes rigorous training, and the government was going all out to provide it. A special program had been set up, Operation Astronet. That's right, Astronet. These astronauts were women. Barbara Clinton was being trained to captain the expedition. 2 times winner of the Powder Puff Derby and an active member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary Air Detachment, she had great self-confidence and lightning reflexes. Dana Perry was to be navigator and medical technician, a first-rate flyer, a graduate physiologist, and a near genius in math. She was a harsh critic of herself. Joanna Sue Tolliver would serve as the expedition's engineer. She was a hot pilot and a PhD in cybernetics. One half pixie, the other half expert rocketeer. Here and on Venus, the lives of Barbara Clinton, Dana Perry, and Joanna Sue depended mainly on 2 factors: their spacesuits and themselves, mostly themselves. But a spacesuit is only a machine, and no matter how perfect you make it, a machine can fail. Thanks to an accident, that's just what happened now. A navigator of a space crew, training for a Venus shot, was in danger of drowning. I'd seen the accident from my underwater observation post. I'd also seen that Dana couldn't handle it. I got down to her as fast as I could. I'm Mike Nelson. I'm a professional diver and a Commodore in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. My job now was supervising the underwater end of this training program, Operation Astronet. Making emergency repairs on the spacesuit wasn't any big deal. But Dana had reacted as if it were. That worried me plenty. Yielding to panic can kill you even faster in space than it can underwater. I got Dana aboard and onto the fantail of the Coast Guard cutter, our operating base. I was the only male allowed in this part of the ship. Sit down. Got some water in there.
Did you breathe in any? Did you swallow any water?
Just a little. Mike got it to me in time.
I'm afraid I panicked. Yes, and you nearly killed yourself, too.
That suit failed us all. Tested out for pressure, not for a sudden impact.
Well, of course the suit failed. We've got to expect that and be prepared for it. For anything.
I'm very grateful, Mike. Really very grateful.
Forget about it now, will you? Huh?
Well, we've got to remember, girls, that if and when we do get to Venus, Mike won't be along.
Well, you'll just have to use your imaginations then. Right now, everybody below. Not more medical checkups. Each night I just dream I'm turning into a little old guinea pig.
That's not what I dream about, darling.
Dana, you start taking blood pressures. I'll be with you in a minute. You'll just have to face it, my boy. 3 healthy girls, 1 man. They're trained technicians, but they're women, too.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Sometimes they act more like women than technicians. Especially Dana and Barbara. And especially where you're concerned.
Poor little old me, huh?
Well, you just keep on defending your honor, Mike. When in doubt, stay underwater.
Hey, let me help you with that, honey child.
Would you? Why, what would poor little old me do without big, strong you all?
Hang on to your Confederate money, gals. The South will rise again. Make yourself useful, Dana. I'll help her.
Are we going to go down again today, Mike?
Yeah, right away. You can stay in your bathing suits, huh?
Thank goodness, I almost roasted Nancy Stacy here. Same problem as yesterday?
Yeah, same problem. To set up an underwater base camp. Dana's got the specifications.
We'll have 3 hours to survey and prepare the construction site. And if we don't make it? Oh, we'll make it. We made it all right in the lab test. We're going to make it all right in the field test.
Those are my sentiments, too.
Dana was tensing up already. But I couldn't help her. Nobody could. It was a private fight. Dana against her own private fears. We headed for the area previously selected as the site of the underwater base camp. All the materials and tools to construct it had already been dropped. But before the astronauts went to work, I had to make sure of one factor which was essential to their safety and their success. Voice communication among the 3 of them.
This is a checkout on the radio circuit. Can you all read me? Barbara?
Loud and clear.
Dana?
Fine.
Joanna?
Sure thing.
Okay. It is now 0900. You have until 1200 hours.
They probably wouldn't need much more than 2 hours for the job. But their equipment included enough extra air tanks to keep them going up to 4. Each girl had a specific job or jobs to do. They lost no time doing them. Their years of training topside were paying off. They worked as a crew with skillful precision, putting together a piece of the future.
Ready for me, Dana? Okay, get the line.
From where I stood, Operation Astronet was clicking perfectly. And 4 tank changes later, the underwater base was almost completed, and Dana's fears apparently were under control. She and Barbara had set the main support mast in position. Now it was ready for rigging. Joanna pounded in the last of the mooring stakes.
Dana. We need some more attention in the guy line.
The rest of the air supply. The girls were safe, but the test had been wrecked, thanks to an accident that might be avoidable next time. Dana was taking it personally. Through the glass of her faceplate, I could almost see the self-accusation in her eyes. She was convinced that it was her fault, that she wrecked the test single-handed. I had to set her straight about that, for next time she might accuse herself into a fatal disaster. If we were keeping a log of this voyage, the right entry now would be stormy weather. Because of what had just happened downstairs, the ship was tossing with trouble. Woman trouble.
What happened down there? I'll give you the 3 guesses. Don't bother. It probably sticks out all over me. I panicked again. I wrecked the whole operation. I almost killed Joanna. And I wanted to go into space. Me. I'm going up, all right. Up and out.
You stop it now. Piling up self-pity so high you can't see over it.
I'm just facing facts.
I agree with Dana. It was a mess down there. Dangerous mess. Could have been a disaster. I don't know whether she's accident-prone or careless or panicky. But boy, she adds up to a menace.
Shut up, Bob.
Now, wait a minute, Cal. That's what these field tests are for. They're designed to show up weaknesses, in you as well as the equipment.
Well, they did.
The tests aren't over yet.
There's a lot invested in you, Dana. Years of education, training. I thought you were one of the best. I still think you are.
But I panicked.
So that happens to the best of them. The important thing is whether or not you can conquer it.
Thanks, but I don't think I can.
You can't. Let me tell you, you won't. As Mike says, this is a crew. Everyone has to work together. Everyone depends on everybody else. I don't want my life depending upon some neurotic who's going to break down in an emergency. It's just not fair to the rest of us.
I've gone through 2 years of testing without breaking down. Maybe Mike's right. Maybe I can lick it.
Oh, you'd just love to turn into a heroinist out of him, wouldn't you? It was too much the way you wrapped yourself around him down there. Such a nice, cozy attack of panic. Wait,
Oh, don't. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh, girl. Come on, kid.
Come on.
All right, Jared. Oh,
Don't do that. Come on.
come on, break it up, kid. Come on. Both of you. Come on.
No.
Oh.
Not worth it. Come on, Dr. Barnes. Sure.
Well, what can I do?
Stop it. Now, will you stop it? Cut it out. Stop it. Take care of it.
Let go of me. Oh, what are you doing now? Move. Come on, let's go. Me. I'm sorry, Mike.
So am I. Oh!
Remind me never to get into an argument with you, mister.
Well, I wouldn't throw you overboard, Dr. Barnes. You outrank me.
Well, you certainly cleared the air nicely. Dana told me in no uncertain terms that she's fighting mad, she's not going to wash out, And she's going to prove it to all of us.
She'll get a chance soon. We're going down in a few minutes again.
Good. Well, the hour's up and I'm ready.
Good.
I'm here.
Where's Dana?
Who knows?
Dana? Dana Perry, you hear me?
Dig around, huh? While we're cleaning up downstairs, we'll check out the equipment. Especially the radios for clarity and range. Joanna will be in charge. It's an engineering problem.
She's not down there.
What?
But I just saw her.
Are you sure?
Her tank's missing. Only 3 radio sets.
I think she was trying to prove something to herself.
That's probably it. Let's see if we can find her. Hey, Joanna. Yeah.
I'm going down with you, Mike.
You?
Well, I'm a trained diver. I may not break any records, but I'll keep up with you.
Okay. I'll get your tank. I couldn't even guess where Dana had gone on her self-proving project. But I'd sighted sharks in this area. So just in case, I took along one of the few things that can stop them. A spear gun with a contact head. The base camp seemed the likeliest starting point for our search. Teams, Dr. Barnes and Joanna, Barbara and me, hoping that we'd find her faster that way, before trouble did. That many fish scurrying for cover usually meant danger. It sure did this time.
Thought I heard something. Probably just interference. Dana, this is Dr. Barnes. Can you hear me? This is Dana. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, Dana. Yes, I reach you. It's Mike.
Thank heaven, Mike, I need you. This is Barbara. Where are you? I'm in a crevice in some large rock, sort of a cliff.
I can spot it from here.
Mike, be careful. Both of you, be very careful. I'm pinned in here. There's a whole school of sharks.
Dana, listen carefully. Don't move.
I won't move.
I wanted my hands free, so I handed Barbara my spear gun.
No excitement. Now, come on, slowly.
Seeing a shark that close up was too much for Barbara. She panicked and took my gun with her. I'd have to hold him off if I could with my knife until Dana got out of range. I risked a look over my shoulder and saw Barbara a short distance away, frozen with fear. Suddenly now, Dana got to her. She wrestled my spear gun away from Barbara and headed for me with it. Somehow that cured Barbara's panic. Now she wanted in on the fight, too. This killer must have hunted men before. He kept sizing me up from various angles, considering attack patterns, gradually working his way into position for the deadliest possible pass. Now, with my spear gun, I at least had a fighting chance.
I am wet, tired, and very irritated at you. I know, and I'm sorry. Honestly, I am. How do you feel, Dana? Fine. I licked it. Good. It's your turn, I guess. Fire when ready. Say, what happened down there? I panicked. You? Me? Stainless steel heroin with the nylon hair. Fell apart like wet cardboard. Dana pulled me out of it. All I did was stop you. You went back by yourself. Maybe. Maybe so. I hope so. I've never been afraid before. Never. Fear is normal. Why, only a fool would be afraid of going into space. Kind of a relief to admit it. We're both relieved. I was going to wash you out, you know. For your arrogance. I said was. Now I have high hopes that you'll relax into a human being. She just needs to be left alone. It's all right, Barb. It's all right. Now they're kissing cousins, and you're just plain out in the cold. But don't you fret, honey, because the odds are still in your favor, and you just might get lucky.
Oh, no.
Hi there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is certainly a lot of fun, and it's full of adventure. See some more of it again next week, huh? When there'll be another excursion into that fabulous underwater world of sea hunting.
We were after the most dangerous fish in the ocean. The big fish. Submarine torpedoes. I'm Mike Nelson. I had been called in by the Coast Guard to do a special job for the Navy. Frank Judd was my teammate. An ex-Navy lieutenant, he was an expert on torpedoes. Like myself, he was also a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. These fish had been found in the entrance to a West Coast harbor. Judd tied a tow line to the first one. Before we moved either of them an inch, however, we had to know if they were live or duds. The ticking stopped, but for how long?
And Washington wants them identified right away, within 24 hours.
Wow. That means disarming both torpedoes, taking them apart piece by piece.
Yes, and in 24 hours.
Yeah, may not be that long. That ticking sounded like a time fuse.
Yeah, but the ticking stopped, Mike.
It might start up again. If it exploded, it could set off that other torpedo.
Yeah, well, we'd better get them separated then.
Roger, and right away. But for another reason. The government is making a protest in the United Nations about those unidentified submarines that have been nosing around this coast. Now, if we could identify the torpedoes at least, we might have it made. You think you can do it?
Oh, we had a big enough crew. What do you think, Judd?
Maybe.
Sorry. Ordinarily, of course, this would be a job for the Navy. But we're under orders to treat it as a routine menace to navigation project.
You mean we're in on the deal, just the two of us?
No. The Navy thinks the fish might be relics from World War II. So they sent out an expert on Japanese torpedoes. He's a volunteer, by the way. Oh. Come in. Gentlemen, this is Nico Sugimoto.
There they go.
Working on a top priority project, identifying 2 unexploded torpedoes at the mouth of a West Coast harbor. We were towing the first one out to sea, where we hoped to disarm it. I was teamed up with 2 ex-Navy officers, Frank Judd, an American, and Nico Sugimoto, a Japanese sub-commander in World War II.
What do you think, Judd?
Wouldn't be too tough, Mike. During the war, we stretched a submarine net across the harbor. The way I figured, a Jap sub sneaked in and fired a couple. They only fouled the net. And they went down to the bottom when their engines quit. They've been down there for years.
Nick, what's your slant?
I don't know, Mike. All torpedoes look alike from the outside. Might be Japanese.
You ought to know. Fired plenty of them.
You've been giving him a rough time ever since we came aboard. Now, what's the problem?
He's a Jap, isn't he?
He's an American now. The fact that these torpedoes might be Japanese is why he volunteered. His knowledge may save our lives. We need him.
Well, I don't need him, Mike.
They're going to start lowering the torpedo now.
Lower away.
Our survival depends on working together as a team.
He's down in one piece. Shall I set up the TV equipment?
Yeah. We'll drop the camera first, using the extension cables. Then the skipper can move the cutter as far off as possible.
If we can disarm this one, we can explode the other where it sits. I'll start hooking up.
Hooking up what?
Television camera for monitoring the defusing procedure.
Why the big deal, Mike? All we have to do is haul it up and pull the detonator.
Well, we cannot risk an explosion on board ship. If we make a mistake down there, only one man dies.
And we'll be able to see what goes wrong. So we won't make the same mistake with a second torpedo. We better hurry. With that time fuse, we don't know just how long we've got.
But if it starts ticking again, it doesn't make any difference. I'll bet that detonator is rusted solid. She won't blow up.
As soon as I hook up, I would like to try defusing it.
A big hero act, huh? What are you trying to do? Win yourself an American medal? Amigo. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Mike. Many men in Japan feel the same way. They don't realize you can't fight the war over and over again.
The first torpedo is ready, Mike. As soon as you get your equipment hooked up, we'll move the ship. I don't want to explode that thing under the hull.
Aye, aye, sir.
Oh, please, Mike. I would like to go down first.
Why?
That torpedo may be Japanese.
Okay, go ahead. I'll look up. You see that you come back in one piece now.
In less than an hour, we had rigged our closed-circuit sound and television monitor. The cutter had drawn off, away from the torpedo, to the full length of the cables. The underwater television camera kept watch over Nico in the first steps of the diffusing operation. At any moment, he could be blown to shreds, while we sat upstairs in comparative safety.
Try moving your throat microphone a little lower. We're getting distortion.
This any better?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just breaking through the detonator casing. No problems. Through and clear.
Good work, fella. Now tap in the eye bolt.
If we're gonna have trouble, it'll be right now.
Now, unscrewing the detonator housing, note that there is a thick anti-corrosion film. Very unusual.
Mike, anti-corrosion, I don't like the sound of that.
I don't either.
That's why they're not rusted up.
Yeah, it might mean they expected a long immersion.
Time fuse is likely to be in good condition. Tell him to tie the tow line onto the detonator and get back to the ship at once. We'll pull the detonator out from here.
All set, Mike?
Tie the tow line onto the detonator. Then move the camera in and get out of there.
Okay, here we go.
That's great, Nico. Hold it there.
I'm removing the talkback equipment.
Okay, come on up now.
Check.
Well, let's wrap it up.
The line's pulling out the detonator. It's the current. That's what's moving the line.
Look on the side of the detonator. There's a triple of it. It's a booby trap. Nico!
He can't hear us.
All hands take rescue and survivor stations.
He's still alive, Mike.
Ready boat crew, man the ready boat on the double.
Nico Sugimoto, ex-Japanese Navy officer, had been caught in the explosion of a booby-trapped torpedo. The underwater pressure wave had swept him as close to death as a man can go.
I'm going to send him ashore in a motor launch. There's nothing we can do for him here. I'm afraid his chest is crushed. That's amazing. He's alive.
I've seen this happen before, Mike. The Pacific. They sank one of our destroyers. Our guys were swimming away, and the Japs dropped their depth charge right in the water.
Sure hope Nico makes it.
He might if they get him there in time.
Oh, while he was lying there, he was muttering something about Miyoshi.
Oh, she was Nico's wife. I got the story from Washington. Nico's submarine was nearly blown apart by American carrier planes off Saipan. They were trapped on the bottom for 3 days, but he got the sub back to Japan. And found out that his wife and 2 kids were killed in one of our bombing raids.
I guess he must hate us as much as I hate them.
I don't think so. At least not from where I stood.
There's another torpedo waiting, and we're running out of time.
Yeah, we got work to do.
We headed back toward the remaining torpedo. Before we tried to defuse it, we wanted to give it a good going over. A mighty good one, considering what had happened to Nico. That's a rough one, Lieutenant. Yeah, one move and that thing will tip on its nose.
Well, then I can't take a chance on towing it clear.
I think we ought to pull that detonator where she is now. I checked. She's been treated for corrosion. It's a sure bet she's been booby-trapped, too. Nico must have guessed that they weren't ordinary torpedoes.
Yeah, I figure them for decoys. Whoever put them there wanted them examined aboard ship or at a Navy base.
Yeah, some surprise package, huh? I bet that thing will blow the minute we pull that detonator. Look, Mike, we've got 1,000 feet of tow line on board. Why couldn't we hook it up to the tail fin, pay out all the line, and then take the boat out to sea? That way, if she blows up, why, we'll be in the clear, and if she doesn't, well, we can sink her in deep water.
Any other time, I'd agree with you. But destroying it won't help. We've got to find out whose they are and where they came from.
Nico's got a stake in this, too, you know. I'm pretty sure he knew it was booby-trapped. He was risking his life. I'd like to try to finish what he started. I'll get my gear, Mike. Oh, you can help me set up the camera down below, but I'd like you to stay topside and do the monitoring for me, huh? While I pull that fuse. I'll explain what I'm going to try to do, so if anything goes wrong, at least you'll be around in case any more of those babies show up, okay? An hour later, all the equipment was in place, including another television camera. I had already taken the first step toward removing the detonator.
Everything fine so far. No problem with detonator housing.
You'll never hold it by yourself, Mike. Don't let that detonator come out.
I heard the ticking, Mike. You started the time fuse. Make it quick.
Detonator coming out easily. Too easily. It's hard to control at this angle. Now comes the tough part. Gotta hold down the trip lever as it comes forward. First clamp in place. Detonator further forward. I can see the other end of the trip lever now.
Watch it.
One more clamp should do it.
Don't let go. I've got to get down there, sir.
Okay, I'll watch it here. Try again. This clamp is the one that counts.
Judd pushed me aside and took off with the detonator. Apparently, he was hoping to save one life at least. Mine. I expected every second to be his last. But this detonator must have been rigged differently from the first. It wasn't supposed to go off right away.
Looks like you got it apart just in time, Mike.
Yeah, that ticking noise was a time fuse. It started the moment the torpedo was moved. Luckily, it had a 6-hour delay.
Quite a gimmick. Even if they'd been hauled ashore and nobody touched them, they still would have blown up. Equipped with just enough engine to get them inshore and a special device to sink them.
And we know definitely now that they were fired last month from one of those unidentified submarines.
Yeah, Washington happy to get the news?
Oh, you know it. And they were well fortified at the United Nations.
Well, no more unidentified subs, no more torpedoes. Guess it was worth it, huh? Nico know about this?
No, not yet.
I'll go tell him. Glad to hear it.
Mike. They let you see him?
Yeah, sure.
I've been trying to for days.
Yeah, well, I guess he's still a little rocky, huh?
They let you in, why not me? Look, Mike, we could have had it down there, and we would have if Nico hadn't have gone down first and put his head on the block. He knew the danger, that's why he volunteered. All right, a guy can change his mind, can't he?
Sure. Let's go see him. Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. You know, 3/5 of the world is covered by the sea. And how little most of us know about that underwater world. Go below with us again next week, huh? For another thrilling adventure in Sea Hunt.
Less than 3 centuries ago, this rock garden off the Carolina coast was above water, dry, deserted, and a popular rendezvous for pirates. Divers sometimes find relics to prove it. These divers came across spectacular proof. Something that looked like a pirate cannon. Underneath all that coral, that's just what it was. Finding it changed their lives overnight. And Aaron Halliday's, the man they were working for. 6 months later, it involved me. I'm Mike Nelson. Aaron had been my history professor at college, and one of my best friends ever since. When he asked me to join him in the Carolinas, I came running.
What's the scoop?
Well, I came down here to do some good old stuffy research on colonial governments, but instead I discovered Blackbeard's diary.
Blackbeard's diary?
Yes, and a clue to what just might be a whole cave full of pirate treasure.
Well, what do you know? What kind of a clue?
Well, he wrote that he planted a cannon in the mouth of a cave. And when he put to sea, he says, he laughed thinking of his gold safe in Ben's pocket, unquote.
Ben's pocket?
Well, nobody around here had ever heard of it either. So I played a hunch, Mike.
Blackbeard tacked the name onto this local cave, huh?
Right. And set up a cannon in front of it. And there it sat for some 200 years until Zoe White, my research assistant, found it. Zoe and a local diver that I hired down here, Sonny Kendall. Anyway, after Zoe and I went back to the university, Kendall found 3 doubloons and some fragments of jewelry. Well, that was all that Zoe needed. Oh, what a girl she is. Such drive, such enthusiasm.
Don't tell me she's good looking.
No, I won't tell you that, Mike. You'll have to judge for yourself. Anyway, she sees my book as a bestseller. Whole big sale in the movies, and me, aging gimpy egghead, just rolling in money.
Oh, why not? Couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but it's going to take you a lot of money.
Well, we've got $20,000 in hand right now.
Yeah, but you'll need some salvage equipment. The whole thing will run around $50,000.
We've got $50,000, Mike, whenever I give the word. The Barstow Foundation will invest $30,000 just on my say-so.
Grab it.
Yeah, that's what Zoe said, and Kendall, too, but I don't know. I wanted to wait for your expert opinion on it, Mike.
Are they out there now?
Yeah.
How long have they been down?
Oh, I'd say about half an hour.
I think I'll go out and meet them.
Good.
What a research job it must have been. Working out where a cave would be today underwater that had been on dry land in Blackbeard's day. Aaron Halliday had been too modest to tell me, but he deserved a lot of credit for interpreting that diary. It didn't take me long to find the cannon. Aaron's 2 divers, Zoe and Kendall, weren't in sight. They were inside the cave, probably, picking Ben's pocket. I was wrong, though. For some reason, they'd been exploring somewhere else. Now they seem to be making for shore. Aaron was really high on these 2, I remembered. The girl, especially. I headed out. I was eager to meet them myself, especially the girl.
See anyone else down there?
No.
There he is. I told you Mike could make it here. Mike, this is Sonny Kendall. Mike Nelson.
Nice to meet you, Sonny.
Mike Nelson. Well, even though we don't find old Blackbeard's treasure, I'm still way ahead.
Oh, it's too warm for a snow job, boy.
Zoe? Zoe, this is Mike Nelson.
Hi. I just judge for myself.
I trust you rested well, Mr. Nelson.
Just fine, thank you.
Taking in paying guests is a brand new experience for me. Miss Zoe, I'd appreciate it if you'd tell that Kendall boy not to help himself to my ice chest.
I'll tell him, Miss Roundtree.
Messing up my kitchen, waking me at sparrow dawn.
Why, Miss Naomi, honey, I sure am sorry. I wouldn't disturb your beauty sleep for the world. Not that you needed any.
Sonny, honestly.
It sure is a handmade day. The water is warmer than toast. Warmer than this toast, anyway. Hope you're about ready to explore Ben's pocket, Mike.
I'm raring to go. Why didn't you wake me this morning, roommate?
At Sparrow Dawn? You got time. Besides, I always start the day off with a swim.
With a day's diving ahead of you? Boy, you are a water rat.
Mike, I'm so glad you could get here now. Every day counts if we're going to beat those hurricanes. In fact, well, we need that money from the foundation right away. I mean, for salvage equipment.
We already got the order in for the barge and the dredge.
All Aaron needs is reassurance from you.
I don't know. It seems to me the two of you have found all that any skin diver can find. Doubloons, necklace.
But, sir, compared to you, we don't rate. We're just a couple of amateurs.
There it goes with that snow job again.
It's true, Mike. I wouldn't want Dr. Halliday to risk his reputation on my judgment.
No, sir, nor on mine either.
Well, let's see if he's willing to risk it on mine, huh? The doubloons and the necklace had been found close to the mouth of the cave, near the cannon. Now Sonny and I were hacking away at the back. We'd been at it for some time, but we hadn't found anything yet. Sonny suggested that we do some more searching here out in front near the cannon. That surprised me. After the beating he'd taken, I thought sure that he'd want to call it a day. But the local strong boy insisted that he was okay. He knew just what he was doing. I guess he did know at that.
This is the best one yet. It's the least eroded. What do you say, Mike? Should we cable the foundation?
Of course. Mike's convinced.
Let's wait it there, Soa.
Now, Mike, those hurricanes aren't about to wait.
I don't know what more proof you want.
Well, so far, everything we've found has been at the mouth of the cave.
You mean it could have been dropped by someone on his way out? Someone who beat us to the treasure?
That's right. I might get smashed up a bit, but I'd like to see what's in the rear of that cave.
A storm's due tomorrow. That's more delay.
Now, look, kids, there's $50,000 of other people's money involved here. Festina lente.
Please, Professor, sir, translate for an uneducated water rat.
Sonny, that means make haste slowly. In other words, easy does it, Jackson. Good night, kids.
Good night, Aaron.
Night.
What was that expression again, Doc?
The young folks don't dig these cookie expressions they got up in school.
Mike? Will you forgive me for being an impatient nag?
I don't blame you. I'm impatient myself.
It's just Aaron Halliday's so great a man to me. The treasure's not what I really care about. It's seeing him rich, world famous.
He's a great man in my book, too, you know.
You're an angel.
Two days later, I took another shot at the back of the cave by myself. And I found something. Incredibly well preserved after 200 years underwater. A magnificent crucifix. There was just one thing wrong with it. It hadn't been there 2 days ago. All day long, I'd been trying to figure out what to tell Aaron Holliday about the crucifix in Ben's pocket. I knew that it had been planted by Sonny Kendall or Zoe White for me to find. I finally decided to tell Aaron the truth, unless he managed to beat me to it by spotting it for a phony himself.
That's Spanish, no doubt. No doubt about the period either. It's on the button. This is great, Mike. It's just great. I'm glad now that I did it.
Did what?
Well, I decided that make haste slowly bit was for the birds. So I phoned the Barstow Foundation today to airmail me the $30,000.
You did?
Yep.
Oh, Aaron, no.
Well, with my best friend and my best girl to back me up, how could I lose?
Aaron, there's something I want to tell you about this.
Well, there's something Aaron wants to tell you first. Isn't there, dear?
I'll say. She is my best girl, Mike. We're going to be married.
What?
I know. It's hard to believe. Lame, broke, ugly, old enough to be her father, but she loves me.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You must be tired. Why don't you turn in?
Yeah, I am bushed, but this has taken 10 years off my age.
Well, I'm for bed. We're going to have a busy day tomorrow ordering the equipment.
Hmm.
Really getting you started, darling, on the road to riches. Night, Mike.
Night.
Good night. Aaron?
Yep.
This check from the foundation.
It should be here tomorrow. Day after at the latest.
Yeah, well, when it comes, just hold on to it, huh? I mean, don't sign it over to the company.
Why not? Zoe handles all the funds. She's a whiz at that sort of thing.
Yeah, I know, but, well, on this salvage equipment, I may be able to get a better deal from another outfit.
Oh, fine. But they'll still want money.
Aaron, do me a favor. Do as I say. Huh? Please?
All right.
He was all set to tell Halliday about the crucifix. He must have figured out that you planted it.
Well, how do you know he isn't telling Halliday right now?
He wants to catch you red-handed. Now, look, Mr. Muscles, you do what I told you. Just what I told you.
Right. Good night.
Darling, what are you doing up so early?
Zoe, do you know anything about this doubloon? Mike found it down near the cannon 2-3 days ago.
Well, what about it, sweet?
Well, compare it with this photograph in the coin catalog here.
Why, it's the identical coin.
That's right. That means that it came from this dealer and not from the cave.
Aaron. Aaron, you don't think Mike would...
No, not Mike. Kendall. I think that he planted it.
But why?
I don't know why, but I'm going to find out.
Dr. Halliday, when I opened my home to you all, I certainly didn't count on being waked from my rest morning after morning.
I'm sorry, Miss Roundtree. I didn't realize that we were talking so loud.
Well, it's not you two. That Sonny Kendall was bumping into furniture right over my head before sunup. Then no sooner than he come clumping down the stairs than that other man, that Mr. Nelson, he's up creaking the floorboards.
I'm sorry. I'll speak to them about it. Mike asked me not to endorse the foundation check over to the company, Zoe. Why?
Maybe he suspected what Sonny was up to. Mike's very bright.
But Kendall doesn't control the funds.
Mike doesn't know that.
I told Mike that you control the funds, Zoe. All the funds.
You don't think I'm mixed up in this? Oh, Aaron.
Sonny Kendall wouldn't know a doubloon from a piece of bubble gum.
Can't keep silent a minute more. I just have to speak out about the goings-on
Miss
around
Roundtree,
here.
please, I told you that I'd see to it that you weren't disturbed anymore in the morning.
Yes, but it's more than that. These people you have around you, they're deceiving you, Doctor. That crucifix, she bought that 2 days back from Dan Hayward's curio shop in Southport.
That's absurd.
Dan Hayward just happens to be kin to me. On Mama's side of the family. Mama run into Cousin Dan.
Aaron.
Go on, Miss Roundtree.
And then, if you please, I hear this Mr. Nelson claiming he found that crucifix clear out in the ocean. Now, I shut my eyes to her carrying on with Kendall.
Oh, shut up, you old snoop.
Night after night till that Nelson got here.
All right. So now you know.
Now I know.
Money. That's what you meant to me. Did you really believe I could be in love with an old...
Mike, what'd you say happened this morning?
What Miss Roundtree said had happened to be true. I had followed Sonny down to the beach without his seeing me. I gave him a few minutes head start into the water, too. It turned out to be a little too much. I still hadn't caught up with him. Instead, Sonny caught up with me. Like most sneak punches, it didn't do all the damage intended. I wasn't knocked out by a long shot, but I let Sonny think so. He was all set to finish me off. He wasn't too good with a pry bar, but with a knife, he was murder.
I'm taking Muscle Boy to the sheriff. Come on, you. Up. You better ask your fiancée a few questions.
I already know the answers. Zoe!
She's cleared out. That Zoe's cleared out. Saw her drive off in your automobile 15, 20 minutes ago.
What?
Took all her things. So if you want my opinion, she's on that 10 o'clock airplane by now.
Mr. Parsons, this is Professor Halliday. I wonder if you could tell me the status of our account there. Oh? Oh. Thank you, Mr. Parsons. She took out every cent. $20,000. It's okay, I'll be all right.
Operator, this is a priority. Give me the Coast Guard base, please. They're working on it, Aaron. They'll get her. And the money.
That's good.
Sorry.
How stupid can a man be? A guy my age.
Happens to the best of us, Aaron.
Well, that's how I feel, old and stupid. Not just for falling for Zoe, but for buying those phony coins. The only genuine relic of Blackbeard's that they found was that blasted cannon.
Hey, you know something? That's bugged me from the start, that cannon. What was it that Blackbeard said now again?
I mounted a cannon in the mouth of a cave.
That's what I thought.
What?
I think that cannon was planted, too.
You mean by Kendall?
By Blackbeard. I figured out. Why would he put a cannon in the front of his cave and advertise where his loot was buried?
He wouldn't. And he certainly wouldn't put out to sea laughing the way he says he did. Laughing when I thought of my gold safe in Ben's pocket. Go on, Mike, go on.
Well, there's another cave just north of the one we've been working in. It's smaller, narrower mouth. Looks a lot more like a pocket.
Say, you know something? You've got yourself a doll of an idea, Mike. Listen, if you're right, I'm going to prove to you that I'm a real sport.
Yeah, how do you mean?
You remember that grade that I gave you in colonial history?
Oh, go on, I'll say. It was a D.
If your hunch is right, I'm going to raise it to a B.
Make it an A and you've got a deal.
Dr. Halliday, they caught her. The FBI caught that Zoe White in Miami, getting off that airplane just as calm as you please. The Coast Guard man told me he wanted to talk to you, but I told him I was perfectly competent to take messages for any guest of mine.
You sure are. Did Zoe have the money with her?
Didn't I tell you? First thing I asked him, she had the money all right.
There you are, Aaron. Now you'll be able to pay those investors off, even if I am wrong about the cave.
And if you're right, they'll have to pay us royalties.
My hunch had been right. This cave was Ben's pocket, and this was the treasure that Blackbeard had hidden in it. I still didn't know as much about colonial history as Zoe White did, but I did know more about life. I knew that you can't cheat an honest man. Oh, and one other thing. I was just finding it out. Downstairs, underwater, when you laugh your head off, you know how it comes out? Bubbles. Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. You know, 3/5 of the world is covered by the sea. And how little most of us know about that underwater world. Go below with us again next week, huh? For another thrilling adventure in Sea Hunt. The time was right, and I was sure that this was the right island. I had my boat handy, and I was ready myself. But till now, the main ingredient had been missing. The girl.
Hi.
What are you doing here?
Taking pictures. And if I don't get any good ones, it'll be all my fault. The visibility is something terrific down there.
Is it?
Uh-huh. My name's Mike Nelson. What's yours?
Catherine Drayton?
Ah, nice meeting you. I, just been diving this area the last couple of days. Boy, it's the greatest.
Yes, it is.
Hope I get some with my camera. Those coral formations down there, boy, oh boy, huh? They're really something.
Someday I'm going to learn how to use an underwater camera myself.
Well, no time like the present. Be glad to teach you. As soon as I get rid of my tanks, huh? They haven't got any air in them.
Thank you very much, but I'm going quite a bit farther out today.
You know it's dangerous diving alone like that?
Yes? Don't you?
Touche, but I couldn't find anyone to dive with me. Until now. How about it, huh? You gonna dive with me? At least as long as I'm here?
Perhaps. We'll see.
I'll teach you how to use the camera.
Goodbye, Mr. Nelson.
Coast Guard Cutter Morris, this is WM-2050, over. Coast Guard Cutter Morris, this is WM-2050, over.
This is the Coast Guard Cutter Morris. Over.
This is Mike Nelson. I have a message for Commander Flint. Over.
Ready to take your message, sir. Over.
Well, I finally made contact with Captain Drayton. But it's gonna take a little doing. It's gonna take some time to get anywhere with her.
It's going to take a little time to get anywhere with her.
It'll be fun trying anyway. WM-2050, out.
I wasn't just talking when I advised Commander Flint of the Office of Naval Scientific Research that I'd need some time to make any headway with Kathy Drayton. I probably never would have if she hadn't wanted to learn how to take pictures underwater.
Well, thank you, Kathy. Kathy?
Hmm?
How come you're such a hermit?
Am I?
Oh, yeah. Living out here all alone? No friends, nothing to do, no place to go, except underwater?
Is that bad?
Well, it's a steady diet, yeah.
I'm happy, Mike.
Well, knowing you for the short length of time that I have, I don't think you are. Intelligent guy like you? No chance to use that pretty little head of yours?
It's no great loss.
I don't agree with there either. Don't you really miss the States?
No, I don't. And I'm not going back, ever.
Really? Why do you say that?
I swore I wouldn't when my father died. He was a scientist, Mike. He was working in a new field, bionics. It's biology plus electronics. He invented a device for measuring electric currents underwater. And it killed him.
I'm sorry. You ever find out why?
I don't know. Something in the transformer.
Oh? Well, I should have thought you'd kept on working until you found out just what it was, and then fixed it.
How did you know I worked on it at all?
Why? Your father was Henry Drayton, wasn't he? The newspapers didn't say exactly what he was working on, but they did say that you were his assistant.
You knew that when you met me?
Yes, I did.
And you never said anything.
Well,
thank you, Mike, very much. But let's not talk about it anymore now, all right?
I didn't want to talk about it myself, but Commander Flint couldn't wait much longer. Kathy would have to be told why I'd been sent down here, and by me. But I just couldn't bring myself to handle that much of a jolt. I decided to drop the whole idea, for now at least, and concentrate on taking pictures. I wanted a starfish to pose with, and it was sitting on a live wire, bionically speaking. A torpedo ray.
It's lucky for you it wasn't a large one. Torpedo ray has 400,000 electric discs. Big one can discharge 70 volts. That's a lot underwater.
Yeah, I know. That's what happened to your father, huh? But it was the omnimeter that backfired on him underwater.
How did you know that? The omnimeter was top secret.
Yeah, I know. I'm a Commodore in the Coast Guard Auxiliary. And I have a very close friend in the Office of Scientific Research.
Commander Flint?
That's right.
I told him to leave me alone.
He couldn't. He's working on an invention of your father's back home. He can't finish his job. He needs your help.
Well, he can't have it.
Now, listen, Kathy.
No, not anymore. I was beginning to think that you liked me, that I could trust you.
You can.
Go back and tell your boss it didn't work. I didn't fall for you after all.
I took Kathy at her word. I headed back to Nassau, where my temporary boss, Commander Flint, was standing by. When I got there, we dreamed up a new plan. Kathy wouldn't go back to the States to work on the omnimeter, that was for sure. But she might be willing to work on it here. So Commander Flint had it flown down to Nassau. Within 24 hours, we were on our way back to Kathy's island retreat. The commander, the omnimeter, and me. We anchored in a spot that would give Kathy a front row seat. It wasn't going to be just a test of a far-out bionic device. I was hoping to put a pretty far-out girl under fire, too.
Are you nervous, Mike?
Oh, no, Commander, not about the machine.
Well, I am. Up to now, all our tests have been under controlled laboratory conditions. This will be the first time out in the open ocean since Drayton was killed.
Well, you couldn't have picked a more isolated spot for it. There's no electricity on the island.
And we'll keep everything on the boat dead. So whatever you pick up on the screen downstairs should be the electrical impulses out of Nassau. That's the point we're targeted on.
Nassau's 100 miles away. Oh, that's really something. Pick up an impulse that far away.
Not only that, it'll amplify that impulse. Safely, we hope. Lord knows we've been working on it hard enough. And after the impulse is amplified, it'll start recording effects on my panel up here.
Well, that works like sonar radar, huh?
No, it's an entirely different principle. You see, Mike, bionics is a brand new science. That's why we need experienced people like Kathy Drayton. Need them badly.
Well, she knows we're here. She can see my boat from a cottage. I think she'll show up.
Well, I hope so. It's hard to see how she can resist as a scientist.
I don't know about that. There's a woman. I'll gamble on her curiosity.
Well?
Well, it seemed that I'd lost my bet. Kathy didn't show up. I could only hope now that the omnimeter would behave as predicted. My instructions were to set the delicate device in place on the bottom, then get out of the water while Commander Flint gave it a final checkout from topside. The omnimeter was so sensitive, we couldn't use underwater telephone communication. An electrical impulse that close might be amplified into a death jolt for the operator. Maybe not. It could be that the commander and his crew had eliminated the bugs that had killed Kathy's father and scared her into a run out on life.
Well, look who's here. Welcome aboard.
Mike, I only have one thing to say. Don't do it.
Everything ready? Radio?
Boat's all dead. As soon as you get down there, I'm ready to read you.
Generator's okay, too, huh?
Right.
Mike, listen to me. There are too many unknown factors down there.
All right, then watch the panel. There won't be so many unknown factors, huh?
You can't let him do this.
Look, you don't think I'd risk Mike's life?
Commander, I saw my father electrocuted by that thing down there.
I know, Miss Drayton. I know what that did to you, too, but we've done a lot of work on the omnimeter since then.
In the lab. This is very different. Mike, listen to me!
All I had to do now was follow Commander Flint's instructions. Set the device, turn it on, and jiggle the dials a little. Nothing happened. The needle didn't even budge. Either Nassau was dead electrically, or this thing was. The first thing I remember, after being jabbed by a couple of million needles, was Commander Flint trying to force my mouthpiece back in place again. Luckily, he succeeded. Otherwise, when I came to, I'd have sucked in a lungful of water instead of life-giving air.
I don't see how it happened. His gloves aren't torn. His hands were perfectly insulated.
There's no protection once the voltage starts spilling over like that.
But why does it? Where does it come from? Screen showed it didn't come from Nassau.
There are 100 sources of electricity underwater that we've never even thought of yet.
Obviously. Look, Miss Drayton, your father must have had some theory.
He had lots of theories. They didn't save his life.
And you better do something about it, Kathy, because I don't want another Joe like that next time.
Don't you know how close you came to being killed? Didn't you learn your lesson?
The important thing is, did you and the commander learn something? And can you put it to use now?
Mike, I don't care about that. I came here because I was frightened for you.
All right. And do something about it, huh? At least take the risk out of it. Okay, go on back to Little Island, and hide so we can get some work done. As soon as I get my wind, Commander, we'll go down and see if we can bring that thing up.
All right, Mike. You win. Bring it up and I'll take a look at it.
When Kathy Drayton made up her mind to cooperate, she went all the way. She checked through every bit of data that she'd filed away after her father's death. Every electronic bionic formula, every design and plan of the device that killed him. It couldn't have been easy for her. And it wasn't for us either. She worked us so hard, I started to wish that old Ben Franklin hadn't discovered electricity in the first place. It wasn't until 2 weeks later that Kathy finally was satisfied. She had made the omnimeter as safe to operate as she knew how. She insisted on coming down with me, though, to test it. Commander Flint remained topside to monitor our reception. Now we were just about ready, but Kathy was taking no avoidable chances. She spotted some of those little known sources of electricity she told us about, and they had to go first. It worked. The omnimeter was recording an electrical impulse from 100 miles away and amplifying it safely. It was a major breakthrough. I reached forward to reset the device for Miami. It blew, freezing me to it with a multi-volt charge.
The only thing that happened, Kathy, is that we picked up a torpedo ray instead of Miami, that's all.
Very funny. If I hadn't been there, you'd be dead.
Yeah, it's true. Thanks a lot, Kathy.
For what? It was my fault. I should have taken something like that ray into consideration.
Well, next time we will.
There won't be any next time.
Now, Kathy, look, we've almost succeeded.
I don't think so. We're not even close. And there won't be any more tests until we are.
Well, when do you think that'll be?
Maybe never.
Kathy might or might not solve it, but I was going to do what I could to make the next test safer for all concerned. One way was to make the area unsafe for torpedo rays. Kathy reported she was making faster progress than she'd expected. She'd be ready to try the omnimeter again tomorrow morning. That afternoon, Commander Flint and I rigged a four-sided net around the test site to keep out any living source of electricity. No fish, eel, or ray was going to turn the omnimeter into a portable electric chair this time. Next morning, we were anxious to get started. Apparently, Kathy was even more so. She'd already arrived. Her boat was moored astern.
Hey, the omnimeter's gone.
What?
Yeah, and you know who's got it, too.
It's pulling in Miami like a magnet. Mike, I think Kathy's really got it licked this time. You know, apparently the machine can handle distant electrical impulses safely. It's just the nearby ones that cause the trouble. Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Something's kicking up a fuss down there.
Everything's dead in the boat here. I'm sure nothing can get through that net down below.
Well, something must have something big. Look at it now.
Maybe it's a ship.
Well, it shouldn't be. We're 100 miles off any shipping lane. Hey, wait a minute. What's this over here?
Oh, yeah. It's a pleasure boat.
Oh, my gosh. We gotta do something to stop him.
I can't do it with the radio.
No, that would jolt Kathy to Kingdom Come. We can't use a flare.
My rifle. That might do it. Maybe we can scare him away, huh?
It's worth a try.
It looked as if her father's invention was finishing her off, too. She had saved my life by breaking my grip on the machine. It wouldn't work this time. That cruiser upstairs, even with its engines idling, was discharging 10 times the voltage that I'd taken because of the torpedo ray. That's what was freezing her so rigidly to the machine. If I so much as touched her, it would freeze me, too. What I could do, though, was to try to break the machine loose from her. It could work if I could manage to wedge her in the coral, just for a moment.
Here, try this.
This will take care of you. I'll warm your ears.
Oh.
You're feeling better now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I was wrong, Kathy, and I'm sorry. I guess there's just some scientific problems that can't be solved, and this is one of them.
Yes. Not very much work's been done on it, though.
And there won't be any more work done on it by my office, anyway. Rest assured of that.
You're going to give up on the omnimeter, then?
Well, under the circumstances, it wouldn't make much sense not to, would it?
Well, I'm not sure. I think we're on the right track.
Could be. I still can't ask my men to risk their lives.
Well, how about a civilian volunteer, then?
What?
Kathy, you're not going to quit?
Oh, I do want to, but I can't now. You thought of that.
Oh, you mean because I saved your life? No. You decided to go on living long before that. All by yourself, too.
No, not all by myself. And I don't want to be anymore.
Oh, Kathy. Did you hear that, Commander?
I sure did.
Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. Skin diving is fun and adventure for young and old, but it can be dangerous. So know the sport well and don't take any chances. Be with you next week. for another exciting sea hunt.